Hey guys, what's up? Welcome. I have a bowl of grapes here. It's 11:15. This hair is literally soaked with oil and I need to take a shower. For quite some time now, I wanted to film a video like this and I'm like, you know what? Now might be somewhat of the perfect time to film it. So as you guys probably saw from the title, it's gonna be a video. What the hell are you saying, man? As you guys probably saw from the title, this is going to be a video where I rank all of my Jeffree Star eyeshadow palettes. Now, I don't own every single palette that he's released, but I own a decent amount. I would say for the past maybe like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 months, I've been like slowly obsessing more and more over his formula. I feel like he consistently gets better and better. I'm not gonna lie, honestly, the first two palettes that he released, I wasn't really about the quality and it just wasn't something that I was crazy over. But I feel like with every single release, it just seems like it's getting better and better, and I'm kind of like even more and more shocked. So I have 8 eyeshadow palettes here to share with you guys. 1 second. 8. I used one on my eyes today, so if you guys want to guess which one it is, it's my favorite, so leave your answers down below. But let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to start from number 8 to number 1. I will have all of these palettes linked down below in the description box, as well as what I have on my face. I always get questions about like what makeup I'm wearing, and it's always in the description box. Before I start the video, I also wanted to mention that there are no palettes in this little pile that I hate. There isn't one that's like, oh my god, like I don't need this in my collection type. But since I am ranking it from like 8 to 1, there's obviously some that I enjoy more than others. I'm still so happy to have all these in my collection. Very thankful, very happy, like I said. And it's not like, and they're not palettes that I am like looking to declutter or anything, because I need these babies in my life all the time. All right, I'm really hungry. Listen to this crunch. Trader Joe's, so good. I used to get the green grapes, but you know what? I'm living for purple lately. So the palette that comes in at place number 8 is the Mini Controversy palette, which was in collaboration with Shane Dawson. So in love with this. I am. I love the packaging is to die for. It's like style. I don't know. I'm loving it. Here are what the shades look like. Basically, these smaller palettes have 9 shades. This one right here has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Why did I go in that order? But it basically has 2 rows of mattes and then 1 row of metallics. Now, as you guys can see, the color story is something that's definitely very different, and I really appreciate that about this palette because it's not something typical that we see. But with that being said, also, the many times that I've used this palette on its own, I just kind of felt like I looked weird. You know, sometimes when you play around with eyeshadows, you're like, oh my god, I'm feeling this. And then sometimes you're like, oh, girl, no. So that's how I felt with this numerous amounts of times. I feel like using this paired with other palettes that he has is like, oh my goodness, yum. But talking about this on its own, I just kind of felt like it's not 100% my vibe in regards to this color story. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all I have to say about this. I had a really hard time creating looks that I enjoy just using this palette, and that's why it falls into spot number 8 for me. Here's what this palette swatch is like. These are with 1 swipe swatches each. The formula is insane. But like I said, I don't want to repeat myself every single time, but I just had a hard time creating looks using this. All right, now let's move on to what is in spot number 7. Spot number 7, step right up. This right here is the Morphe X Jeffree Star palette. This came out this past summer, I want to say. I forgot that it doesn't go all the way back, but here are what the shades look like. We get a ton of shades in here. We get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 30 eyeshadows in total. You guys can see we have a decent amount of like pinks, purples, neutrally type of shades, and then pops of greens, this beautiful silver color, peachy tone shade. So it has a lot of variety. I would say my issue with this palette was that a lot of these colors stained my eye, which is not the biggest deal of life, but not only that, they were just a little bit more drier to work with, a little bit harder to blend. And with Jeffree Star, like shadows in general, like the way I would be able to describe them is like, it's like cream cheese, literally, or like butter, because it's just beyond smooth. So when I saw that this palette was not exactly like that, I was like, yeah, like it's not his like typical like smooth shadow formula. At least that's what I felt. Not that Morphe's bad in regards to like quality or anything. I mean, they have a lot of hits and misses, but I feel like this is more of like a Morphe palette. Like I feel like Jeffree Star is a little bit up there in a way. Wow, I'm gonna so get slapped for this video. But nonetheless, I like the variety of colors that we get in here. It's very multifunctional. We get a lot of mattes and metallics. This shade right here was a little bit of a pain in the ass to work with. It's like a loose glitter shade. It literally doesn't even swatch. So I didn't really love that one, but the metallics in here are pretty nice, pretty pigmented, the type that you kind of need to build them up, but they're great on their own, or they're great with like a glue or something like that, an adhesive. This shade right here also was really pretty for like the brow bone. So great selection, just not the best formula of life. I forgot to mention the black in here is really nice, very pigmented, very smooth, very creamy, and a pretty good black, I must say. And these are with one swipe swatches. A little bit PC, have that in mind too. Okay, moving up to place number 6. For place number 6, I have the Conspiracy palette. I actually thought that I would love this more than I did, but apparently I did not. So here's what the palette looks like. This was in collaboration with Shane Dawson. I have to tell you guys, this whole first top row is literal goals, you know, goals beyond goals. If you want to just use the whole top row for a look, wow. So I loved this palette for that mainly. My issue was with this is that if I just use this palette on its own, now remember, if I use these shades with other palettes, I can create looks like OMG, and this is like a must-have. But on its own, I felt like for these 2 rows, the looks just didn't come out as amazing as I would like it on my specific face. I mean, I definitely did come up with a lot of looks, you know, creating this like green color, using this green color, this color right here, this shade Trisha is gorgeous if you're going for that beautiful bubblegum pink kind of look. I did find that I was using a lot of, like I mentioned, the top shades, but I feel like I kind of neglected a lot of these, which is very unfortunate because they are really pretty. I just have to learn how to work with more shades. So that's the story with this palette. Okay, so here are some of the shades that we're working with. Again, with one swipe swatches each, very smooth, very creamy. The black in here is definitely much more smoother than the one in the Jeffree and Morphe palette, but that one's good. This one is just like a step above it. That's like beyond amazing. Looking at these shades, I really just created a look using just these kind of colors, right? So pretty. I really have to try to challenge myself more with this one because I just love the colors. Now from here, it was pretty hard for me to kind of situate them by numbers because I am die hard over the rest of the palette. It's like die hard. So it was so hard for me to kind of like put them in order because, now repeating myself, because it just, these are just wow. So for spot number 5, I have the Blue Blood palette. This palette is like the epitome of the most perfect blue palette to exist in this universe. Every single shade in here is beyond super saturated, super pigmented, very easy to use. This shade right here is one of my favorites, Ocean Ice, and I really like Deceased. I love the fact that in the first row we get a decent amount of transition shades for the crease, but then for these 2 rows you pretty much get every color of blue alive to exist in various different finishes, and I love that. I like that this palette kind of combines a ton of metallics and a ton of mattes. Some of his other palettes are not like that, but this one has honestly the best of both worlds in regards to finishes. The few times that I use this palette, I'm just kind of like, whoa, like, and you guys, the compliments kept coming in, I'm telling you, and I really didn't expect that, but you guys absolutely loved when I was wearing this on my eyes, I think for one video. But yeah, I've worn it quite a few times after that, and I just think it's very pretty. It's also a really nice palette to kind of use as a one-stop shop situation. I mean, I say that a lot, but I feel like even if you want a little bit of blue going on, you don't have to use like 15 shades. Sometimes I'll use like Deceased or Blue Blood a little bit in the crease, and then kind of put on a nude lip and then kind of call it a day. But then there are times that I'll go all out and I'll use like this and this and this and this and create a specific look, right? This combined with other palettes, whoa. And for this coming up week, I want to create like a cobalt blue look, and I'm definitely going to be using Ocean Ice for the lids. It's just like really the epitome of perfection. Here are how a few of the shades swatch. Again, one swipe swatches, very creamy, very pigmented, very smooth, just very saturated too, but very easy to blend out for blues. I like this palette for blues more than the ColourPop, what was that color palette called? Blue Moon palette or something, because I feel like this one right here has more variety. Usually with palettes, if I'm going for a specific look, I like to know that I can build up the crease shade. With the ColourPop palette, I feel like there isn't much options there to build up the crease shade, at least not for me enough. So I like that this one has like literally every step of transition shade that you would need all in here. So if you're looking for a good blue life, like I'm blue, this is heaven. Okay. This one also was so hard to place. I was like, this is number 1, but then number 2, but then number 3, number 4, number 1 again. All right, you guys know already. I do not hate any of these palettes. I just had to rank them, right? So this one right here comes in for place number 4. This is so beautiful. So I created this look a few days ago and you guys were like literally going crazy over it, and I'm like, whoa, first of all, thank you, and secondly, I didn't expect it, you know. I mean, I knew that the look would come out good, but I didn't expect you guys to fall so in love. This palette is beautiful. I think it came out 2 summers ago, I want to say, but basically the whole top row is mattes, the whole bottom row is matte, and then the whole middle row we get a selection of super saturated metallic goodness shades. Now this color story is kind of interesting and a bit different, but with Jeffree Star palettes, you know what I realized? He does include a lot of randomest shades a lot of times in his palettes, and you would think like, I don't know. But then when you sit and create a look with those palettes, you're like, shit, never in a gazillion years did I ever think of combining these shades together, but it comes out so beautifully. And I feel like this is where I have it with his palettes, with this and a different palette especially as well. So basically I usually like to use the top shades to kind of build up the crease shade, and then with these shades I'm like, what's gonna go on the lid? And then any shade that I put on the lid, I'm like, whoa, 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 like it keeps getting better and better. So I feel like this palette just provides so much. You can go very neutral with this, or you can go a little bit brighter with this because of the shades on bottom here, but because there are so many nice transition-y shades and a lot of neutrally type of metallic shades, it could be a good day-to-day palette with maybe like a pop of blue on the lower lash line, or this kind of Tiffany blue. This yellow is really nice to kind of throw in the crease if you want a little bit of a yellow color peeking out, but I feel like if you look at this, it's not so neutrally, but it really is on the eyes if you want that neutral look, but you also have the option to go colorful with it too. I love this, and the metallics in here are literally galore. Doesn't even make any sense, but you know what I mean. It's just like, who are you? Like, for real, who are you? Here are how a few of the shades swatch. Again, I'm gonna say the mattes are heaven. Super silky, super smooth. They don't have a lot of kick up. They just, you know what I feel like with the mattes, especially with this palette, I feel like I just put it in my crease, I just move back and forth once or twice, and it's like boom, blended. And I don't have that with a lot of palettes. If you have a hard time blending, maybe give this a try, because it's really, really simple to use. And I mean, the color story, goals. That's my new word for 2020, goals. All right, moving on to place number 3. So also, it just keeps getting harder and harder, right? The higher I go, the harder it gets. The Jawbreaker palette. Now, I haven't had this in my possessions for the longest time, but I will say this really speaks for itself. If you're looking to jump into color, if you're looking for something a bit different, for something to kind of challenge you in a good way where you're not gonna have anxiety over like what look you're gonna create, this is so much fun to use because you get a little bit of everything, like pink tone shades, blues, greens, yellows, purples. Kind of combining them all together and creating eye look is like, wow. Any color combination that came up with this palette, I just keep looking at myself in the mirror and I'm like, just when I thought you couldn't look better, just when I thought. I mean, don't get me wrong, I look like shit sometimes, but when I wear this, I look really good. Yum, this is just heaven goodness, for real. Like, come on. So nice. So this palette actually also goes really well with the Mini Breaker palette, just because it's from the same kind of family, but it's, of course, beautiful to wear on its own. Okay, so this shade right over here, it's a beautiful deep blue. Borderline black, but it's still pretty blue. I swatched it right over here. It is so beautiful on the eye. I don't think I've seen a blue like that ever. It goes well with the Blue Blood palette, but also goes really well with these kind of shades. And I know in the past, I feel like I would have felt maybe intimidated by this, like, whoa. But for real, once you really play around with the shades, it's like, how were you not in my life sooner? I can't understand. All right, moving on to palette number 2. And then if you guys guessed it, then you probably know what palette number 1 is, but if you don't know, then it's a surprise. But basically for palette number 2, I have the, oh, I just got a dirty, no, the Blood Sugar palette. When I wore this in a video, I want to say maybe like a month ago, you guys, well, on Instagram and on here, you were like, what is on your eyes? Now, I get a lot of compliments from you guys in general, so thank you so much for that. You guys are always so sweet and cute, even when I feel like I look like, ah. But when I wore this, it was just, the comments were flooding in, and I was like, really? I was feeling myself when I was wearing this. It's so pretty. I feel like a lot of these kind of shades, a lot of these shades in general would look good on any skin tone and any eye color. Like this just brings out anything you have. You know how makeup is supposed to enhance, and it generally does enhance the features that you have. This takes it to the next level of enhancement. And so I really love that for this. I feel like anytime I see anyone with these kind of shades on, I'm like, yeah, they look really good, because really, really beautiful. The only thing I will say about this palette is that I wish you would have included more metallics in here, and I mentioned that in a different video already, because most of these shades are mattes. And I like the fact that we get a decent amount, or a lot of transition shades, and then a nice amount of like reddish tone shades, burgundy tone shades, this beautiful hot pink, purpley shades. And let me tell you, purples are hard to do, but these are not a pain in the ass to work with. And a lot of times I will like stay away from purple because I'm like, I don't want to sit there and blend. I just don't have patience sometimes. So with these shades and with the other palette I'm going to speak to you guys about, it's like, can you give it to me? I'll take it. So here I have some of the shades. Swatch, love them so damn much. Moving on to the palette that hits, that hits home run for me. That is the #1 babe of my life from the Jeffree Star collection of palettes, right? This right here is the Mini Breaker palette. I have fallen deeply, madly in love with this. It's what I'm wearing on my eyes today. Hopefully the light isn't making it look like weird or anything, but this is a palette that I actually got in a mystery box. And when I opened it, I'm like, wow, this is gorgeous. But when I actually started using it, I was like, wow. And this really inspired so many other purchases that I made, because looking at this, I was like, what can I do? And I swear, the second I started using this, I became even more creative with my eye looks. And not that I wasn't creative before, but this started my creativity like boost. There are so many different looks you can create with this palette, from simple looks to very like, you know, glam type of looks to like OMG kind of looks. It's what, like I said, what I'm wearing on my eyes today. I just built up the purple, literally so smooth, creamy. This shade right here is a metallic, but I use it on my lower lash line when usually I won't use a metallic there, but it just worked out really well. This like grayish, mauve-ish, yeah, gray color. I'm like, no, in the beginning, but then I'm like, hey, I wouldn't think it would look good, but it does. And then the shade Oral is what I think everyone's dreams are made of. What I love about it the most is that I least expected to like fall in love with this. Like I knew I would like it, but I didn't think I would fall madly in love with this. And I hope it's like that with a guy too. I hope I meet someone in a way where I'm like, nah. And then like a few weeks down the road, I fall madly in love with him and be like, damn, didn't expect it. Good things come when you don't expect. So yummy. And I really can't just speak enough about this. It's just, if there's one thing you're gonna listen to me with, I also like the fact that it's small, compact, and travel friendly. And you can come up with so many looks with this. Even though you might think like, oh, maybe 3 or 4. No, at least 25 looks with this. Imagine I do a 25 looks get ready with me video. Wow, that would be crazy, but kind of cool at the same time to show you guys how diverse this little baby really is. That is pretty much it. Those were all the palettes that I wanted to rank with you guys today. I am thinking of doing this kind of video for my Baby Natasha Denona palettes, because you guys know I'm obsessed with all of those. I would absolutely 100% love to know what your Jeffree Star ranking is. Even if you don't usually comment, please make an exception for this video, please. I want to know. I want to know, because maybe you're going to rank it a certain way and then I'll be like, oh, I hear you. And then maybe I'll kind of reconsider my ranking. I don't know. Maybe I'll get inspired by you guys to use maybe more of the conspiracy palette, and then I'll feel like, hey, how the hell did I rank this #6? This is #2 for me, or #1 for me, you know? So I'm definitely looking forward to reading your comments down below. Let me know what's up. And I also wanted to say that this video was inspired by Angela, one of my subscribers. We were talking just before about Jeffree Star and all of that, and I'm like, you know what? You inspired me to make this video. I mean, I wanted to make it, but she kind of was like, let's do it. So here I am. Anyways, I'm looking forward to reading your comments down below like I mentioned, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.